So cars made outside the United States are going to be more expensive. What's crazy is that a lot of the automobile manufacturers, their stock prices went down because they make so many of their parts in other countries, right? And so companies like Tesla, though, I think 81% of Tesla's parts are sourced in the United States. So Elon Musk actually was somewhat protected from the tariff. Surprise, surprise, right? Sitting next to the president apparently has some advantages. I'm looking at Tesla stock though, but even Tesla got hit a little bit. They dropped 6.5% after hours. So everybody's kind of being splattered by this machine gun fire that Trump is throwing out there in the form of these tariffs. He's getting real gangster with the rest of the world. They're going to get gangster back. So his gangster is responding to their gangster by pre-responding to their gangster. What he basically said is, if you retaliate against our tariff, we're going to give more of a tariff on you. So if you come back with a counter tariff to our tariff, we're going to add a tariff on top of your tariff. So it's kind of crazy. He's begging them to start a trade war. He's saying, say something. You got the right one. Come on, say something. Say something. You know. And now I wish he would. I wish China would. Right. That's what he's basically doing. He's basically telling other countries, I wish you would. You know, if you bring a tariff back at us, we're going to hit you with a higher tariff. So this is going to be interesting, because what this is doing is this is literally shifting the global trade landscape around the world. Like this is shifting. This is an economic regime shift, in my view, that will be remembered 80 years from now. 80 years from now, they'll be saying, remember back in 2025? And they'll be like, well, that was 75 years ago. Yeah, but that decision by Trump on mark the date, on April 2nd, 2025, his liberation day, has impacted global trade for the next 100 years. Is it going to be good or bad? Depends on where you stand. Economics is a yin and a yang. So let me break more of this down for you. Also, his justification is that he actually cited this as an economic emergency. He invoked something called the 1977 International Emergency Powers Act to implement the tariffs unilaterally. And so he feels that his argument would be that this is going to boost domestic production. And that's not a completely invalid argument, in the sense that he has created clear incentives for companies to build factories in America, to hire American workers, to make products in America. So what the problem with that, though, is it reduces the degree of integration that we have with the global economy. And as you know, from being Black, the word integration is complex. Sometimes integration is good. Sometimes integration is bad. Integration is like marriage. Is marriage good or is marriage bad? Well, it depends on who you marry. It depends on whether you got a prenup. It depends on who's the giver, who's the taker, who treats who, however, right? So ultimately, the marriage of the U.S. economy with the rest of the world is one that's a mixed bag. It's not one where you could say it's all good or all bad. Globalization didn't help everybody. Globalization did not help everybody. Globalization helped people like you, because I know for a fact that almost 90% of the Black business school students invest in the stock market. So globalization helps you because you have ownership in the very companies that are making money all around the world. So don't get mad. I mean, globalization helped you. But if you go to Gary, Indiana, has anybody been to Gary, Indiana lately and seen what Gary used to be versus what Gary is now? Anybody been to Toledo, Ohio? Seen what Toledo used to be versus what it is now? Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Detroit, Michigan, right? When they make products in America, American workers benefit, but corporations suffer, and overall gross domestic product can suffer, because what you're doing is you're cutting down the ability to transfer capital across borders seamlessly. So if you're looking at this as solely a I hate Donald Trump moment, you can have that, sure. But I would try to be a little more nuanced than that, because the argument that America's kind of been sold to the rest of the world, there are some people, there are a lot of smart people who actually agree with some of that. The problem, though, is that overall, on the whole, tariffs of this scale, executed in this way, have been negative on the economy.